Welcome to this episode of the FANMEN podcast. I'm DJ Gove.
Chris Davis.
Sean Hogarty. How you guys doing?
All work and no play. Yeah. Today's episode brought to you by the fine folks at Red Rum.
Xbox, Netflix.
Red Rum.
Red Rum.
Red Rum.
Yeah, so this is 3 weeks for me tomorrow, not leaving the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little over for me.
I got my most fresh air, I think it was yesterday when DJ came to drop off actually this fine FANMEN jacket thing here. And
very nice apparel.
Yeah, so I stood outside in the sun and talked for a little bit. It was nice.
He was miserable.
We can't tell by your complexion. You're kind of blending into that background.
Yeah, this is my normal coloring.
But that's skin tone, hair, the whole thing. So the hat helps.
Yeah. Basically, without the hat, he'd be the Cheshire Cat, basically.
Without the hat, I just kind of fade into the background. Yeah,
just floating eyes and a hat. Yeah, exactly. Just a smile.
Yeah. So we've been talking about comic shop industry and comic shops in general for a while. So we were finally able to get the guys from the Hall of Comics in Southborough, Mass on. And they're going to be joining us right now on the Zoom.
Excellent. So finally, I want to welcome Jake Johnston and Johnny Mangual from the Hall of Comics in Southborough, Massachusetts. I've been wanting to have you guys on for a long, long time. And before we start grilling you for your thoughts, I just want to say, since the day I first walked into the shop, courtesy of Chris Davis saying, hey, there's this new thing called Batman Day, and it's, July 23rd, and there's this great store right off Route 9. You should come with me. And from the moment I saw the logo that I love that's on Jake's T-shirt right there, reminiscent of the Hall of Justice.
Nice placement.
He's working it.
The colors, the primary red and blue, and just the environment and the friendliness and the friendship of you guys. This is the very definition of a local comic shop. It's been, through thick and thin, ridiculous $200 a week pull lists. Don't listen to that, Jen. To much thinner times. I've never. I'm always been amazed by the support and awesome store that you guys have provided. So welcome to the FANMEN podcast, finally.
Well, you're having us on. I mean, might as well leave now after that, right?
Yeah. So, it's downhill.
Well, great being here. Right, but no, thank you guys. Really appreciate the support, and we'll get into all that as we go along. But we appreciate the invite tonight, and looking forward to a good time. So,
yeah, good to be here.
Awesome, and we should acknowledge the ridiculous array behind Jake. What am I looking at?
Good Lord.
Where is this in your house? Is that like the kitchen, the dining room?
This is the bathroom.
That's the boom boom room.
The boom boom room.
That's the boom boom room. Go ahead, Jake.
No,
Go ahead.
We joked that my wife and I said we had to buy the house so we'd have enough room for all my toys. But no, they're relegated to one room in the house, and I do get the entire room. But yeah, this is one corner. The rest of it's in a bit of a disarray. Yeah. So I can't provide much more than what you see here.
Let me tell you, having actually been in the room a couple of times, it is amazing. Every square inch of it has a different action figure and grouped in there. Just to dust the damn things, I'd probably pass out. But it is phenomenal. Someday we're going to port that to the hall, the speakeasy, but we can talk about that later on. That'll be one whole wall.
Put that behind the bar, right?
Yeah.
Bingo.
John, I need a little graphic at the bottom that says "Powered by IKEA" because every square inch of it is IKEA.
IKEA is an action figure collector's dream. Every bookshop. See, I keep mine in the box. I don't do the out of box thing. No, but like IKEA shelves and IKEA bookshelves and display cases, and I think my Iron Man helmet lit cases from IKEA. They're great. So, very impressive.
Well, I'm very glad to see that. As you can see, I don't show anything behind me because it's really boring. So,
he's hiding the office.
I'm hiding the office someday. So one of the things we've always wanted to talk just in general about, through different periods of the business is the special challenges that a brick and mortar comic store faces. And we'd wanted to talk to you about, just your impression of the industry and how it's been doing, how it's been affecting you, how you've dealt with it. And we wanted to talk to you about that before, the last month or so, where the world, that we're in has changed so incredibly much with COVID-19 and the coronavirus. So try to forget about coronavirus for a minute and tell us a bit about what it's like to be comic book retailers in your own store and the time you've been in the industry up to that point.
Jake, if I can kick it off. So again, thanks for the invite, guys. For us, we're entering our 6th year now. So started with a little conversation between Jake and I. We used to work together down at Friendly Neighborhood Comics in Bellingham. Mm-hmm. So I had got out of my professional career, which was selling IT, mm-hmm. and always loved comics, and got an opportunity to work with a guy down at Friendly Neighborhood Comics, Ernie Pelletier. And I got to go to basically comics college. Got to learn a little bit about it and how it worked, and it really gave me the knowledge, the final piece of knowledge that we needed to start. Jake was a co-worker of mine there, and we just hit it off. 2 different personalities and 2 different ways to approach things, but it's so complementary. We like to think of it as a Lennon-McCartney, and that's not arrogant, but the way that we do things is everything's done together. There's no first name, no last name. It's just it's the team together, including Ryan and Manoli, our third partner who's not here. Manoli's handles our pro services. But long story short, so the first 5 years have been a learning experience. Every year we've learned something different. One thing we wanted to strive for is be the best in customer service that we could be at all times. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it's about the experience. Everybody can sell something. You can go buy comics anywhere, but we wanted to make it an experience that was unique and different and reflected our personalities. Fortunately for me, Jake's talent beyond his just, obviously his selling skills that he has. He does a fabulous job for us in Positions Books, but just his art skills and kind of positions some ideas I have, and it just really works in sync. So long story short, great starting partnership, interesting 5-year ride, and that leads us to here. Jake?
No, I think that obviously everything you said is, you hit it right on the head. I had always, when you're a comic book fan growing up as a kid, I think everybody imagines that what would it be like if I had my own comic book shop? And even if you don't strive to do that someday, you can't help but think of what it would look like if you did. So that had always been in the back of my head, but I never saw a path to get there until I met John, who had the business acumen and who had a much a vision further out than I could have ever had. My aesthetic and my vision kind of ended on the surface. I thought, oh, well, maybe they'd have a cool name and maybe it would have these colors. I couldn't really envision what the business side of the creature looked like. So meeting John and being able to connect with him your idea works with my idea. Yeah, we got to do this. It was one of those things where it couldn't have worked better if you had planned it. It just kind of fate just. I mean,
this really does sound like a love-in, but it really. Listen, without having good partnerships and good coworkers, you can't really elevate your game. And no matter how many ideas a person can have, if you can't execute the ideas, it's insanity, right? That's what it comes down to. So to have people working with me and pushing me to be better and to be next ahead and keep going has been a godsend, candidly. And it's been like that. And I think, Jake and I, Kirk and Spock, every good duo you can think of. And it changes. Someday he's Kirk, it changes. Probably like you, DJ. Changes up every once in a while. So that's been another mutual love-in, which has been critical, and all the changes that we've had to make, and the market's changed since once we started at Apex at one point with Guardians of the Galaxy and all the movies, and it was the rage. Mm-hmm. So you can track it through all of our transactions and all of our different business measurements that we have. It's not just dollars and cents. If it is, you're never going to catch it.
And we've been able to see that just since Sean and I have been coming in for so long. I think it was a little earlier than Sean that I came in and met you for the first time, Johnny. But just watching the shop from where you guys started to the big boom with the newer books, that section expanded greatly to where we are today.
Yes.
I mean, there's been ebbs and flows and what your focus has been going on. So why don't you guys talk about that a little bit? Because it has certainly changed a lot since when we were first coming in to where you were before this happened.
Great question. So it's always been right now it's a week-to-week thing. We can measure our business by, again, transactions, average per. We really break it down and take a look at it and make sure that we can be almost ahead of the trend. One of the things I saw before in my previous experience was that you could be slow to react, and you'd find yourself 10, 20 books deep. 3 issues later, you say, oh, I'm not selling as much as I was, but 3 months you've eaten that until you make that decision. Yeah. So we tried to shrink that window as tight as we could. That's to Jake and Ryan's credit, really managing our subscription service, which gives us a barometer, quite frankly. It's our weather guide to say, okay, this is what's coming up, this looks popular, this doesn't, and really having to measure that on a week-to-week basis. COD, it is a COD business for Diamond. It really does matter. On Tuesday, the clock starts ticking for a lot of shops, right? So here we go. Yeah. There's been some really successful shops that have been able to manage that, and others that haven't, not in business anymore. Before I get too far ahead of myself, a lot of the references that I have as a comic shop and what I wanted it to be came from other shops locally. People like Bedrock Comics and Jack and Jimmy and Matt down there do a fabulous job. They were my guys in the 80s at Blob City Comics. Followed them around. They were always fantastic to me, and they're really supportive of the shop, which is great. That's Entertainment out in Worcester, another shop that I respect and enjoy going to. Great people. Really lucky to have these awesome shops. Steve over at the Outer Limits. I mean, you got to go see Steve. So, again, there's shops up and down here. Rubber Chicken Comics down in Bellingham. I said Friendly Neighborhood Comics, and there's been a lot popping up. It's a tough business, but it's a lot of fun and really rewarding. And fortunate to have good partners to stay in the game so far. And we'll see what the next few months bring, but we'll figure it out.
One of the biggest things I've seen you guys do from the beginning, and I mean, Chris and I are particularly kind of business and financial nerds on top of comic nerds,
Which is why we love when you come in, because we get different conversations going, and we glean some knowledge, and you guys are pretty forthright, so we appreciate that as well.
I saw you guys come in and start with a lot more brains and combo and resources, as you said, Jake, where it wasn't just ideas and a wish. It was a combo of some, bringing in some experience that got you to the point where you were already trying to get ahead and understand of where you were going, how to deal with that, diversify revenue streams, deal with the inherent person-to-person nature of selling physical comics on a weekly basis, while also realizing that your market is not just the people who happen to drive by on Route 9 or live around, but in fact are distributed and online, and not just new books, but old books. And then, the advent of online live video auctions, things like that. You've always been very creative in trying different things. Store variants, being in there in some ways earlier than others, but also adjusting and pairing that. It's been very, very interesting to watch. And I think you guys have been really fortunate to have that mix of, the three of you and the rest of the team. But how has that been in terms of fun versus stress? Like, I always think of the picture of Jake getting scared. Scared.
They have a video every year.
Yeah.
Can't wait for them to repost that.
Yeah, you can't edit that clip in, can you? Because that would...
I might be able to.
Probably drop it in.
Yeah, actually, I'll probably figure out how to drop that in. Yeah, just give me the video, yes.
I think that the level of fun is important because it does offset the stress which comes with any physical retail store that's trying to survive in this day and age. The comic book aspect aside, we live in an Amazon world, and if you're going to survive as a retail business, never mind the extra challenges that come with the comic book industry. Of course, there are going to be stressors. Mm-hmm. I chuckle to myself now, having been on this side of the counter, when people now must look at it and think, oh, you guys have the best job in the world. We get to sell comic books. And I'm thinking in my head, well, yeah, we do, but that doesn't negate the fact that we have the same, challenges as any a retail business. So as stressful as it may get, though, I think I must wake up every day and think, how did I get to the point where I am for 6 years now, which is a lot to say for any business, 6 years.
Oh, certainly.
We've been running the comic book store that I would want to shop at. In all honesty, I would want to shop at if I were a comic book fan. I'm pretty proud of that. And I'm pretty proud of what we've all been able to do together as a team. in the face of those various challenges, the online presence that so many big comic book dealers have, the fact that we decided we were going to be a comic book shop for comic book fans, not carry the games, to not carry the cards, which still surprises some people. But
it's very rare.
Yeah, but John and I decided that early on, like we didn't want to bring that into the mix because it's really, for us, that's what we love, that's what we know, that's what we want.
And again, we don't want to sound arrogant, but for our vision was we wanted to be a professional comic shop. Sometimes sometimes the mix is better for shops that have games and have cards, and our expertise are not in those areas, and our passion aren't in that area. And the people that collect that stuff can smell that a mile away. They know you're just trying to make a buck, and they won't frequent. So why do it? Don't do it half-assed. So we knew comics. We felt comfortable that we could work together and acquire more knowledge. We built the business out based on not just revenues coming in, but also skill set of the team that we had and what we thought we could do to create a larger presence as a store. Yeah. Because, again, diversification is important.
Yeah.
But it's also the branding and keeping consistent to the message in what we feel as a shop. We have a certain way that, that we like to do things in a certain way and that we'd like to have done for us. And customer service is number one.
Well, and you can see that in that focus in the clientele that you've pulled together.
Yep.
When you look at it, tends to be an older, more sophisticated. I watch the names on the auctions each week, and it's the same group of people shopping for the same time. I mean, I liked it better when people weren't paying attention because it was easier to snipe some of those older books. But you've definitely drawn that focus.
And that was just, again, one of those opportunities where innovation met where we were as a team and as a business, and we could say, hey, great, let's do this and augment what we had already done. And we appreciate the people that join us for all those auctions. It keeps us sharp because we've got to keep showing different books if you get the same 80%, 85% of the time of the same people, which is great. You got to make sure we entertain them. And you guys know that, right? People listen when they're entertained and when they like the people involved, and we can stand by the product. But that's been a lot of fun, and we appreciate that. So professional comic shop is what we're going for.
One of the things I wanted to ask, and one of the things you just kind of showed as you went through that is a specific focus, right? You've spent a lot of time thinking and evolving and dealing with that. One of the big challenges that I think, among all the challenges that you would start as a business, is the space that you had was relatively tight, right? The store is not a wide-ranging space. And so a lot of the shifts you've made over time have had a very, it's a very focused view of it, right? The choice to not carry certain things or to shift around, between new masses of new books, more old books, this much on the wall, that, talk to me about how you approached that little bank that you moved into and turned it into that space.
And Jake will certainly chime in here, but for me, it's always been about at bats, right? If I have a certain amount of people coming into the shop each time, why are they really coming in? And you start to learn that, and as you go along, you start to play to your strengths, and that's really what it's been about. While we jumped into Funko Pops, enjoyed them, I still collect them. But as a business, we saw that, when Michael's has them and other places, large Barnes & Noble starts having exclusives, it's time for the little guy to get out of it because you're not going to get that share. I know you're a big collector too, Mr. Gove. So, but they're addictive. They are addictive. But so we saw the trend kind of going away from us, and we made a decision right there. We didn't linger it. We didn't. Same thing with action figures. We realized, we're not Target and we're not the places that action figure people come to. So why try to act like we know it? But we do with Jake certainly. But why try to? It's not our focus. So
he just brought up the action figures thing. That's a good point. That because I was about to say, why don't you guys have more action figures and toys with what's behind Jake? But then you realize, even places like GameStop, Barnes & Noble, some of these figures coming out now, they're charging $25 to $30 a figure when the Walmarts and the Targets can still charge $19.97, and you're behind the 8 ball from the start. So why get involved in the inventory if you have that hard of a time moving it, except for your Batman Who Laughs and your Hellbats and your one-offs. So it's why bother?
So that ties into Sean's previous question about maximizing the space. Somebody like that's entertainment. They have great space and they have a great wall to display action figures, and they do it well. So it's all part of their business mix. But it's, again, we have tested things. We tried manga, right? We figured we have Framingham State right up the road. We figured manga would be a good hit. Again, not my background expertise, and not Jake's. We tried to acquire the knowledge, but there just wasn't a thirst for it, so we went away from it. You know, we have little spots that we can try things out as, and we're pretty flexible with the shop. And I always believe you can make it a little bit better. And depending on where you're at as a business, we could flip it up. But Jake?
Yeah, I think something that Sean was getting at early on may have been just maybe I'm wrong, but just the physical layout of the store. And anybody like you guys who are regulars, you've seen the different manifestations that the shop has taken on. And
which usually happens when Jake goes away. When Jake goes away for a weekend, Ryan and I.
Yeah, all of a sudden the racks are all moved.
Knocking out walls.
It's like the Prestige. It's done, and Jake shows up. He's like, "Wow."
You gotta keep Jake on the top.
I couldn't figure out where one of the fixtures had gone to. It was completely missing. That's part of the fun, though. I think it keeps it interesting for people who are in there as often as once every 2 weeks, or maybe even once every week. Who wants to go into the same store for too long over and over again? Keeps it interesting for them. Keeps it interesting for us.
Yep.
And there's also the upside to finding out, ooh, this little tweak right here really then makes everything else click into place. So that's part of keeping it interesting for us and making it work as well as it can for people coming in there.
And for me, it's Ryan loves to move stuff around. I think he has a PhD in moving stuff. Probably ask his wife. But Ryan's desire to move stuff and Jake's fantastic ability to frame something with a sign and with a look and a color.
Yep.
I mean, you'd be a fool not to move the place around, right?
Yep.
But really, we do it so we can add focus to different products and different things that we're focused on at the time.
Yep. So thanks for that great. I wish everybody could see and know the store that I know and love, and hopefully soon people will be able to physically come back to it. Talk to me about how the last month, which, right, we're recording on April 5th. It's a Sunday. We're about 3 weeks into a significant shift and a couple weeks into almost a full shift of people not being out, people not even be able to go anywhere. What's that been like for you, and how were you prepared or unprepared for where you're at now? So
I think for us, it was getting the realistic look at it early on, 4 weeks ago, going, okay, this could go down. And fortunately, we're prepared because we had developed an online store. We had take our marginal profits and we rolled it back into the store. We're not only employees like Ryan and John and my son Matt, and we've had other people come in and give us a hand. So get those assets moving and starting to frame up the store. We've always had the eBay shop, and we've also had our own shop. So over time, we developed that. We noticed we had more inventory. That was, okay, we can bag and board it, but comics for $1. And that was born about 3 years ago. And we've been moving that along with the limited resources. You can kind of like move something heavy to a spot, then we'd come back to it, move it to a spot, then we'd go up there and move it. That's how it had to work, but we were fortunate enough to have these all things converge. So from a challenge standpoint, we have the shop that's physically closed down, but we just shift our focus and our resources now to work the other 3 avenues that we had developed and to introduce the latest one. So it was 2, right? Our eBay shop and our web shop. Yep. Great inventory there. We can still ship up until now. God forbid if that closes down, right? If the postal workers and all these true heroes that are out there working right, every day now. And so, God forbid if something happens to them and the farmers and things like that. But staying in context, it was, okay, we have these avenues to showcase this merchandise. So between the live streaming auctions that we have, and then there's 2 shops we had, okay, let's shift the resources there pretty quickly. How do you break down the shop business, though, the day-to-day business, make sure our customers still get their books? And so we work through those processes, every little step. And I had said to Ryan about a week or 2 ago, I says, dude, it was like Miyagi, right? Wax on, wax off, paint the fence. And then all of a sudden, all these skills that we had acquired
Yes.
setting up these other businesses all came together. So now you're like Ralph Macchio, the Karate Kid, and he's like invoicing and he's doing everything that he needs to do quickly to pivot on a dime this business.
Yep.
And again, without resources and without prior knowledge, and he couldn't steer this course.
Yeah.
And everyone's been iron-willed, and it's been a lot of work. It's been a challenge, no doubt, but it's been very satisfying too in a lot of ways. Sorry, Jake.
Yep.
No, that's certainly accurate. The one piece of the puzzle that I think you mentioned it in passing, but I think it was especially important for us was we do, for those who don't know, we do a 1.5 to 2 hour long auction once a week using the live feature that Facebook Video had provided. And we'd been doing that for a little over a year, I believe, at the time when things happened. So the way I saw it transitioning was, okay, we can provide more or less the Hall of Comics experience to regular fans and, fellow fans and friends online virtually without the physical store there. So that was the path, I think, getting us to continuing to operate and and be able to function even with the doors shuttered at the brick and mortar location. Because if you had to shift gears too quickly into something like that, using the Zoom feature that we're seeing here tonight, that would have been so much more difficult. But we've been doing that for over a year. So it was like, okay, not that big a deal.
Yeah, so how can we do it and stay within the socially conscious, physical distancing that we needed to do? It used to be all of us in a room on a Monday night presenting through Facebook Live. So it's okay, what do we do next? It's quickly pivot. Okay, let's try Zoom. And we worked through it and we broke down the show and how we do it. And again, without the people to my left and my right and understanding and depending on them to get things done and to not panic. Okay, we're going to change something. Some people break.
Yeah.
These people are like, okay, man, we had already done it, getting back to the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. We'd already pivoted to create these new business models from the online to the live streaming to what have you. And it's been great. And it's allowed us to stay connected to our community, to our tribe too, which is just as important. Sure, revenues, the name of the game. That's how we pay the rent. Yep. But at the same time, we don't do this to get rich. This is not a get-rich business. This is a soul-enriching type of business. And it's, it's something I'm happy to get up and go do every day versus, you guys all know, you guys work hard. Everybody works hard here. And you certainly sacrifice for your business and family time. And having done all of that, now to do this, I'm very fortunate in a lot of ways. And couldn't do it again without the support of the customers, yourselves included, and great partners and great friends like Jake, Ryan, Manoli, John, Matt. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Well, it's been...
Go ahead, Sean. I was just going to say, you made a great point there with the auctions where, especially in the last couple of years, my time in the shop has dropped from what it used to be. You guys could have set up a cot there for me the first couple of years. I could have just lived there. And work is just taking me traveling, but that's always kind of given me, and Heather would always joke, you can tell, whenever the auction invoice is really big, Chris was in a hotel room somewhere.
That's it.
Because he was there.
New York City,
exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, he was down in New York or something like that, but it still gave you a connection to the community.
Yeah.
It still gave you the option to interact with everybody, and it was a big part of it. It is.
Listen, so we call ourselves, we are the land of misfit toys, right? The Hall of Comics. Everybody that works there and works for it is a part of the land of misfit toys. Every one of us has a unique story and a unique background, but connecting into the community like that as well is important. We have some very unique customers and very unique people, but it just makes the place so much better because I see different types of people every day, and it makes me look forward to going in, candidly, despite what we need to do in the background to keep the magic show going.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
It really is what it's all about.
It's a good point because my conversations with each individual in that shop is vastly different. What Jake and I will turn to talk about is that you and I get into dollars and cents, Johnny. We're actually talking about the books when I'm talking to Jake, and who the hell knows with Ryan and John. But and then Maddie's another beast entirely.
Chris, back to the auction real quick. Am I remembering this right? Are you the one who made some claims one time from an airplane?
Yes.
I did. I did the auction from the
That sounds so Davis. It's not funny.
I believe I watched and I think I participated listening or lurking on an auction from a plane, but it was definitely Chris that cha-chinged a few. I'm certain.
No,
So shame on for not mentioning that that would be our first Mile High Club experience. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I always knew it was
good, but.
I remember getting the Slack. The Wi-Fi in the airplane sucks tonight. And I go back to the auction when I'm working. I was just like, oh, I want that. B4 Chris Davis. I'm like, fucking Chris, it's good enough. It's like, Wi-Fi's good enough.
So the thing about the auction too, and pivoting with that during this time, going back to I guess the original framing question was, what's been going on the last month is if we hadn't built up that 1 year of experience and customer clientele, it's awful tough for a shop to right now start any sort of online store, any sort of present. It is virtually impossible. So to be as fortunate as we had to build that up, but again, getting back to the Miyagi, right? We've been doing all these different things, and now they've come to fruition. Yeah. We just got to keep working them and stay solvent, and want to make sure we're there. And who knows in 4 or 5 months if anybody's going to have any money to pay their bills, let alone buy friggin' comic books. So we're realistic, and we're not getting beyond our noses, and mine's not too long. But in all seriousness, we can't. But we also have to be able to be flexible and we're, again, fortunate, the landlords have been really good. We haven't had any issues, and we've been enjoying them. So the folks at BTT have been great. Zumi Pizza opening up next to us has been huge. Yeah. So for those that haven't seen the shop and don't know the area, I apologize. But, I've been really fortunate with a lot of things. And so we just got to keep pushing it, right? Just got to keep working it. But we want to give value. It's not about just, hey, give us your money because we got to stay open. It's we want to provide a value. We want to provide entertainment just like you. So you feel like you're getting something, and Chris, you're a huge Disney guy, right? You go down to Disney and you're throwing money at them for friggin' $10 Mickey Mouse ice cream, and you're happy as hell. Yeah. If you feel like you're getting something in life, people are happy with, they'll always be happy giving you cash. We want to give value. That's so important to us, and fair value.
I think
it's a very good ice cream.
Really good ice cream. It better be good.
I do think that our value proposition and challenge is a little bit easier because we don't charge, we don't charge any money.
That's it. So right?
So we don't have to deliver anything. But that's, it is certainly there's some luck involved in. I think all three of us, on the FANMEN side, have talked in recent episodes about the fact that the three of us are still not just still working, but working our butts off, and there's a lot of incredible fortune and blessing in that. But I'm really glad you kind of said wax on, wax off, because that's one of my big, it's all about fundamentals, and it's been one of my loves of your store and getting to know you guys, and certainly Johnny, the experience and kind of the processes you bring in, those are fundamentals, and there is luck involved. But so much of the luck is preparing yourself for, unanticipated change, or anticipating as much as possible that the fundamentals can shift. So whether that's revenue or logistics or staffing or, having the right mix of talents, you guys have always really shown an active attention to that, the industry, both local and global and national, and so it's been a joy to see you guys have so much ability to shift. And one of the things my boss has been saying for my team and work for the past year or so is be like water, find a way, right? Which is motivation for us. And that has instilled in us so many skills, like you said, that now that there's real obstruction in our way, we're already primed to push not just at the thing we're pointed at, but in every, left, right, up, down, figure out how to move your mission, move your value, move your community forward. And so, congrats on doing that. Obviously, we've got a lot of difficulty ahead of us, at every level, personally to globally. So, definitely wish you luck in continuing that, but it's been fantastic to see that you have been Miyagiing the shit out of things.
Yeah, and again, working with the right set of people, right? And to your river point, the river's strongest when it's going in one direction. Mm-hmm. And so working with people that I have been working with the past 5 or 6 years has been a blessing. and it allows us, knowing what their skill sets and my skill set is, to mesh together. At the end of the day, we want to deliver books to people. We want people to have escapism. We want them to feel like they're getting a value, and we really want them to root for us because we are good people. We do the best we can every day and try to make an honest living like everyone else, and we'll bend over backwards. We want to make sure everybody's enjoying this medium that we all love.
Well said.
I want to jump in here real quick and just John's given out, and rightly so, accolades to a lot of the team and the support staff in the face of what's going on.
Should I be drinking for this, Jake?
Yes.
But
I am.
Special note to our customer base. I have seen and heard some amazing things from our customers that some people who maybe wouldn't be that vocal on a regular basis. Now they're suddenly, what can I do? Can I buy a gift card? Can I do this? Can I do that? How can I support you guys? Like, to the point where it's impressive. It's moving, because I'm thinking about people out there who really need the help and really want the support. And we're just this little comic book store. So the fact that they would vocalize that it's really impressive. I had a subscriber just the other day email me and say, can you invoice me for my books that I've got put aside? And while you're at it, I want you to tack $50 onto that for anybody who had to cancel their pull list because they lost their job.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to, I was really taken aback at that. And this is somebody he's not too long out of college. He probably doesn't have boatloads of money, but he wanted to help somebody else and help us at the same time. So our fans and our customers are so amazing in the face of this. It's pretty cool.
I think there's two things there. Sorry, DJ. Just you already, you hit on it a lot earlier, Johnny. It's that you do have a community, and the kind of customer service focus, and just the way you've managed to build up social interactions online, everything that provides, that seeds the field that can bear fruit when when the challenging times come. But the flip side of it is also, there aren't many ways a lot of people can see how to help people, right? And so when you have those interactions, particularly virtually or on the phone or an email right now, because we don't have them face to face, you're seeing people, all of whom are good people, challenged in their own shit, pardon my French, but that's an expression of not just goodwill that you've engendered and community bonds that you've done, but also just people trying to figure out how they can feel like they've done something rather than sit at home, dealing with their own stuff.
And we certainly, again, we appreciate everyone's reaching out and everyone's concern. And it is kind of funny, right? People are going through unprecedented times, and the weirdest shit in the world is currently happening. And to take the time out and say, man, I hope my comic book shop is still there, and I really want it to be there, sends a message to us that makes us even want to get through this even more so now.
Yeah. It's a testament to the people that you are and the relationships.
Yeah, well, we appreciate that. It's a business at the end of the day, but the friendships come from natural times through these type of situations, not through the business ones. But Jake, would you agree with that? Or with your
yeah, no, absolutely. I think that
this thing's a love it, and I love it. I could have did this years ago.
I've been trying.
We'll get back to normal soon enough.
I could have got on this show years ago.
I mean, simply put, if all we wanted to do was sell comic books, we could do what other places have done, and we could build a website, and we could just send comic books out to people. Yeah. But the heart of it, that brick and mortar location allows a meeting place, a gathering spot that people have come to know. We get to know you guys. I mean, when I see Sean walk through the door, or Chris or DJ, it's a face I know, and I'm like, oh, hey, not like, hey, they're here to buy comics. It's like, hey, here's that guy that I haven't seen in a few weeks.
I usually go, hey, what's that guy's name again? I can't remember people's names. Say, what's that freaking guy's name again?
The giant set box, like 3 months old.
Yeah.
Great stuff. But yeah, what a cast of characters we have that come in. It's a lot of fun. It's like the Wizard of Oz every day in that.
So what do you see, right? It has been a love fest, and I'm not going to apologize for that.
Now let's do it. I got some dirt. I want to share some dirt. Let's go. No,
Oh, you don't have any. You're looking
I've
for
listened
something.
to this show before. I'm ready. Let's go.
I can go get my wife. She hates people.
That's why I like her.
Yeah, well,
Real quick, Sean, before you get going. So
yeah,
you guys brought up the whole, we're living in an Amazon world, and
Let's
people
do
are
it.
trying to help out. I think you're realizing now, as you've been, shuttered into your house for 3 weeks straight now, you kind of miss that, like, that brick and mortar experience. Like, I miss, like, I don't get out there's office of these two guys because I'm so far away. Like, I'm more towards that's east side of the state. I make the drive when I can to go out that way, but you really, and Chris and I have talked about before, you do miss I'm just going to go to the store and walk around and go pick up a couple of things. And like, you kind of miss that interaction with people, especially, you guys know your stuff, and it's such a nice store. And, you guys have the awesome wall full of books. There's always something cool to look at. Like, you walk in, you're like, holy shit, you guys have one of those? And you miss that interaction that you can't get on an Amazon or on even like Midtown's website or something like that. You just, you can't put a price on, you can't put a price on that human experience,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really our only advantage over those other situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can buy anything off of Amazon, good and bad, right? At the end of the day, we have to be a unique experience. It's how we've always looked at it. I mean, I want to take the time to go to the shop. The shop's supposed to be a respite for everyone. Open the door, close it, chill out. Nobody. If you don't bring your kids in, you can relax. Your wife's not there, just unwind. Same thing for the ladies. Ladies come in, they don't have their men, they don't have their kids, they relax, and everybody's different, right? When they're in a nice, relaxed.
My wife goes in without me.
So I know that's why we love to see Heather.
She's awesome.
I know where's Heather? But
I'm sure Heather's someplace.
So I'm sorry. I think I meandered down a couple of roads here, but you were asking. So the business change over the last 3 weeks for it. Okay, we pivoted real quick and took care of all of our subscribers, and we did mail order to everybody that last week. Really strange time, right? So Diamond says this is it. We're not going to ship anymore. Prior to that, the lead up, the Fura that so we're involved with a few retailer groups on Facebook. One of them called Final Order Cutoff, and there's retailers nationwide, and there's also people from different distributors, and DC Marvel has a rep on it. Long story short, shops across the country, across the world, lost their minds. Yeah, it was Armageddon. This is it. This is the last comics I'm going to get. And then there's talk about, okay, well, maybe we can still ship them to businesses that can accept them and not. The mess that ensued and the anger and the fear was palpable. Yeah. And it's still shops not sure what to do, and Florida one's just closed up. So that's the background. And Diamond now decides, okay, we're going to close it up. We're not going to ship anything. So nobody's going to have any competitive advantage. And some people can take shipments. California can't have shipments in. So long story short, Diamond souffles, and we go, okay, now what do we do? Well, this is what we still have to do on this brick and mortar mission, but now we have these other ones. The two in particular was streaming, and the other one was online, eBay, and our own shop. So let's accentuate that and quickly light as I like to say, is the other rings, right? Ringling Brothers had 3 rings. If the center ring was dark, they still had acts going on in the left and the right. So same thing. Let's dim this one and still work the left and the right. And we were in a position to do so, and we have done so. But the amount of work that it's caused, it's been almost 3 times what it normally would be, especially for guys like Jake and Ryan. Jake, the amount of emails and messages and everybody reaching out to be nice, but also saying, hey, listen, can I it's been awesome, but it's been overwhelming. Oh, yeah. Would you agree, Jake?
Yeah, if you had told me a while ago what was going to happen, I'd be like, oh, so kind of sucks. Won't be at work, but at least I'll get some downtime, get some stuff done around the house.
No.
And John's exaggerating. Everything cranked up because you don't want to. The customer service, I think, is so key right now because I've been making a point of responding to everybody. I don't want anybody to think that they're going to fall through the cracks or not get attended to or whatever. And that's easy to do when you're all at a central point. You either pick up the phone or I just wait for the door to open. But now it's through email. It's a few times removed, and just attending to everybody's got to, well, can you send me this, or do you have that over there? And we want to not, provide the one thing that maybe is going to help them forget about the crap that's going on. So, yeah, there's been a lot to do.
So when our business is pivoting in midair, and you have all this Fura online and resellers, it's been incredible to watch. It's been embarrassing at times too. Candidly, I've seen retailers react in a way that's been very unprofessional, blaming Diamond, blaming Marvel, blaming DC. Listen, at the end of the day, everyone's lives have been turned upside down. They can't be thinking first about my comic shop. I'm realistic about it.
Yeah.
No one knows. People like comic shops are demanding to know. And, I am a shop, and I respect the ones that have been here longer than me. I really do. At the end of the day, let's be realistic. People are screaming at Diamond because they haven't made a statement. Well, wait a minute. Their lives just got flipped up just like ours. Yep. They're worried about their families, too. They're not saying, hey, I'm worried about the Hall of Comics in South Pro. It's not realistic.
Yeah.
And no one freaking knows. No one knows if the printers can ever go back on again. Nobody knows when and if they'll ever go back on again. So to flip out, it's been crazy. So instead of getting embroiled in that whole situation, we said, listen, this is where we're going. Let's go.
Yep. And
to our team and I think our business and our customers' credit, it was, okay, cool, let's do it.
Yep.
All positive, no issues and no breakdowns so far. But so the whole Diamond retailer thing is going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. And I have no idea if print comics will ever be back.
Yeah.
I've always been one to say, it makes more sense for them to go all digital and lower the cost, right? The shipping, the printing, the moving from place to place.
Yeah.
So at some point, they really would like to do that, especially when kids are on their tablets all the time. That's what they're teaching them. Yeah. So maybe it just exacerbates that. And there's been an attempt at that. And Jake probably talk about that, right? The old Comics Hub.
Yeah.
Disaster or idea, if you guys have read that one.
I want the physical book in my hand. I don't want digital.
I know, DJ, but we're old, so they're going to start to write us off at some point.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's a realistic concern for retailers. I've always been one. If it turns off, it might never turn on again.
Yeah, and I mean, no matter what happens, the impacts, are wide ranging. Right. We know that no matter what, stuff can't go back to the way it was without, if ever, without going through all kinds of change and shifting. I think DJ got a call there.
He's very popular.
No,
He's very popular.
And so that's not to say that comics won't exist in one shape or form. They certainly will. There's too much talent out there. There's too many stories to be told. It just depends on what's the deliverable.
Mm-hmm.
And if new comics aren't around in 6 months, we'll continue to focus on old comics and reading the classics and what we have already in the shop that you may never seen before.
Yeah.
So we'll try to exist in some way, shape, or form, and we'll see what the road looks like ahead. But right now, it's streaming forward.
There's still holes in my Batman and Detective runs.
I got some classic Batman tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Man.
Hey, Hogarty, I think you're busy.
Am I?
It's going to be a good one.
I'm usually busy.
No. When the news about Diamond came out, it brought me back to a bunch of the conversations that the three of us had in the shop at various times. When you look at what the volume of the comics being sold with these new issues, and you'd have top new issue for a week might be 160,000, 180,000.
Yep.
I mean, that's minuscule compared to when some of us got into, well, you predate me, but do you think of the Jim Lee X-Men run, those kind of things? So there was that same thought kind of popped into my head, John. Is there the possibility that it just kind of peters out?
Yeah, I don't mean to dominate things here, but Jake, feel free to jump in, please.
Sorry.
Jake's a pretty rude and aggressive guy, so I would watch out for him.
So Chris, the way that comic prices have snuck up, right? They're $4.99. You don't really notice it until you check out, right? And I don't notice it sometimes until I get the invoice. I'm like, oh, that's no longer $3.99. It's $4.99 now. And there's been a lot of $7.99 comics and a couple of $10 comics.
$10 comics.
And it's at some point it starts to look like the baseball card model, right? With it's too expensive for the younger audience to get into, and instead of being able to afford 10 comics, I can only really get 6. And so you're moving the P from one side of the plate to the other.
Yeah.
And as a person providing content like DC, Marvel, or any of the independents, it's like, okay, I have to get this into people's hands, but it's too expensive. What's the cost model? What can I cut out here to make it more widely adopted? Yep. At some point, that might be the case. Let's be realistic. I mean, how many people can afford a $7.99 comic? It's a lot to ask. Right? So
that's taking into account, that's if it's somebody who's already into comics. Forget about an audience who's maybe coming up, they're younger, whatever, and they want to dip their toe in the water. You're telling me it's $5 for this comic, and everybody's well aware. Oh, they used to be 10 cents, or they used to be 50, or they used to be 75, or whatever. It's makes it difficult to build that audience, to bring the younger readers into it. They don't have $5 to drop on one single comic.
And it's a lot to ask parents too, right? These things, right? They get twisted and ripped up and thrown in the bottom of the, back of the toy drawer. But that's why we have the dollar comics bin, right? So we'll always make comics accessible. But if you don't get comic people into the weekly portion of comics, or that consecutive reading comics, that's a very special road to this whole hobby. Is the the episodic way that the week rolls out, and you pick up your books and how you read them, and you get into that regimen. And so having that been broken last Wednesday was the first
for the first time
Wednesday,
ever,
probably since the Civil War era, probably, right?
Yes.
First non-new comic Wednesday, I would guess. But it was. You could feel it too. It was very strange for us. I'm sure strange for a lot of people. But again, it's why we went out and did something like, we were able to do a streaming Zoom of not quite New Comic Wednesday, and still kept us connected to as many people as we could. And they were generous enough to buy some merchandise that we had put up. But just got to keep creative and keep moving and keep connected. But we're also prepared that if in 6 months, if nobody's got any cash flow, that we're going to start growing radishes or something. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So, quick question, because you got something I've always wanted to ask someone who's actually, on the forefront with the shop and the books and the subscriptions that I was always been curious about, especially going forward. So, because you brought up the kids. So, let's say things go back to normal and print books start being printed again in the volume they were beforehand. Are you guys worried about with the kids now? Because I know a lot of kids, everyone's into the Marvel movies and they kind of seem to drive like the nerd landscape. But now that you have like your Iron Man's dead, your Captain America's gone, and your next phase, you're worried, you're banking on, Captain Marvel to kind of lead the forefront. Are you guys worried about Marvel book sales with the characters now that the kids don't really have those big guns to watch on movies?
No, because you know why? It's the kids who are It's strange to imagine, but it's the kids who are being drawn to the newer characters, DJ, because they're imagining, okay, Captain America, Iron Man, that's my dad's hero, or that's my granddad's hero. And yeah, he's cool, but wait a minute. You mean there's this new hero who just started? All right, that's going to be mine. That even if it's the stuff that looks ridiculous to us, like Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, and not that she's ridiculous, but the newer Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
The younger readers who are very new to it totally embraced those characters. And let me tell you, I don't think it would faze them as much as you'd think. If Iron Man and Captain America went away from the comic books the same way they've gone away now in the movies, those kids would be okay. They'll read about Miles Morales or some of the new Nova kids, Sam Alexander. They'll read about them all day and night.
That's
they
good.
love those.
That's good.
Yeah.
I really think the influence of the movies into the shop from a dollar standpoint is greatly exaggerated. And I would say that for most shops as well. It makes people aware of the characters. Doesn't necessarily, they don't come in and all of a sudden, it does happen, but it doesn't happen as often as you
when we opened in 2014, you definitely saw that. John and I had an anecdote that we'd tell people about a grandmother who had just seen Guardians of the Galaxy.
Story too.
Thought that Peter Quill, Chris Pratt, was the best thing since sliced bread, and wanted to see a Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know if she would have read it, but she wanted to see one of the comics. Well, yeah, John's right. Now these days, not really.
Yeah. So, but kids are finding their way into this hobby, not necessarily by the movies. It's by video games. It's through YouTube videos. It's through either Disney Plus, any of the streaming. I've had a couple kids come in and start talking to me about MODOK and about these obscure characters. I'm like, what?
Awesome.
Where the hell did you find
That's
out?
awesome.
He goes, well, he's on the new video game, and I was MODOK. So I said, cool. So, again, we overrate it, but people are coming in from different ways. They're coming underground, over the fence, through the fence. So it's been good. It kind of augments everything for us. We got to, again, pivot on the dime, though, and understand where the trend's going. And a good example is Harley, right? When 4 or 5 years ago when we opened, Holly's a mainstay. She's going to have a job for life when she's ready. But, she gets to an age now and she's into basketball or into her friends, and that kind of wanes a little bit. And so it all peters in and out. And that's what happens with all of these type of hobby things. No, it's all good.
I'm always going to have that shot of her in the Wonder Woman outfit in the shop.
That's it. That's good. She'll be back.
Oh, she will.
Back.
No, and It is. It's funny. The interest does wane, right? She likes coming in now more to see you guys than it is because she's looking for a book or something like that.
Which is
She was a pop maniac.
Oh my God.
Sell, baby, sell.
It was brutal. Baby
Well,
DJ.
Yeah. Well, then on the flip, like my daughter, she's still into the characters. Like she still wants her Harley books. She's the one pushing me to finish Umbrella Academy. She's the one wanting to watch like, all these animated movies as they come out, even though like the DC ones are over now. So she's the one that pushed me towards that stuff. She's still really into the characters. She's like, when she found out Wonder Woman got postponed to August, she was pissed because that's her character. And she's been waiting for that movie forever. So luckily, even though she's almost 19 now, she's deeply into that whole the character thing. She only does like the 1 or 2 books. She is not reading like 10 books every month, but like, when stuff comes up that piques your interest, the Catwoman 66 cover, stuff like that, she wants it for her set.
Here we go. That's a great one. J. Scott Campbell cover. I think it was awesome.
Yeah.
So talk about a tsunami, right? Getting back to the real world now, you're seeing everything getting pushed out, right? We see professional sports seasons almost going to be canceled and some going to start late. We don't know if they're ever going to start them again, and the impact of that. Same thing in Hollywood, right? All these movies are getting shuffled and pushed. I'm just worried about Kong versus Godzilla, right? That's my main concern. Now they're going to get shifted again.
Oh, yeah?
New Mutants will get shifted for the 6th time.
I think New Mutants is going right to Plus somehow. I don't think
it's going to be on the dollar bin.
So we're 3 weeks into this or 2 weeks into this supposed to be, and I still haven't watched that new Harley Quinn movie though. I haven't broken down yet.
It's really good. It's
really actually good. It's fun.
Right.
It's
really?
fun.
Okay, 2.
Yeah.
All right, that's
John, we should watch that.
What? Oh, you saw it?
No, I haven't. You and I should watch it.
Yeah, we should check it out. I want to see it. I did watch the boys.
It's got the spirit of that, like the beginning of the Jimmy and Amanda run for the New 52. It really kind of has that tone to it.
Very much Jimmy and Amanda.
As long as it's
very
fun.
much.
I heard the title. Yeah, the title was a botched job, but it doesn't represent it well. And
the marketing was awful too.
The
movie itself was
I would agree.
The trailers
thing is awesome, but if it's pushed in position, it shouldn't have to be. Females are powerful on their own without telling you they are. They don't need this to, just do it. Don't talk about it, just do it. And I think if it would have done that, it would have hooked us in like Ryan Reynolds and freaking Deadpool did, right? It just sucked us in. We didn't expect it to be great. We just went and saw the thing and it enveloped it. But this one was like from the get-go. For me, it was in my face. I'm like, okay, I just want to go see the characters. Don't yell at me. I didn't do anything,
Yeah. But Chris and I even said, because when we both saw opening night, I was up in Maine with my kid. We went after one of the Kevin Smith shows. That like we said, they did Deadpool better than Deadpool did because they pulled the spirit of the character right out of the books. It's a
very much in that vein. Yeah.
I don't think Warner Brothers has any stones when it comes to the movies. They either don't believe in the product itself and always have to do something to water it down. So you just said Deadpool, so Harley Quinn should have been rated R. Go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
There's some pretty brutal,
freaking Bridesmaids.
Scenes, though.
Be like Bridesmaids. It would be funny, be edgy, but be,
Harley.
I'll be curious to hear. I'll be curious to hear your take on it after you guys
I'm
watch it.
looking forward to hearing it. Now, I'm seeing it now. I mean, I just got done watching The Boys too, which I thought was
that was insane. It
So
was
good.
insane. So good.
Did you watch that, Jake?
I'm halfway through. I need to finish it up.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
And for a guy with ADHD, I don't finish anything, so it must be good if I finished it. Right? I usually go, 3 episodes. Screw this. Next one. But this one was good, so I kept going.
I was impressed at how close they stuck to the book.
They really did.
It changed. It was still in the spirit of the book. I was impressed.
Yeah, that one was good. That was really good. But I guess that was back to the point of how we get fans and how we keep them. But there's a lot of snakes on this plane. Let me tell you, a lot of damn snakes. I get it.
Certainly.
Jake, please.
So we've got our regular Facebook page for the Hall of Comics. All our about and contact information is on there, as well as our website, which is simply the name of the store, thehallofcomics.com. And that'll tell you about the other venues that John kind of discussed earlier. The 2 Zoom sales that we've started doing are all described on the website. We also have a shop on eBay, which is designated as the real Hall of Comics.
Mm-hmm.
There's a doppelganger.
Yeah,
There's a
exactly. And we do have an Instagram account, which more or less mirrors what happens on our Facebook page. If you're of the social media,
We're social media whores. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're all over it.
And we're good at it.
John, did I remember everything?
No, it's good. And again, Jake runs all that side of the business, and without a guy like Ryan, we can't. So Ryan is the behind the scenes. He's Scotty, right? The Enterprise, smoking, and we're out of everything. We need more power. And
he's
Ryan,
the red shirt.
He is.
Yeah,
Ryan.
Definitely.
Oh man, Ryan's the grease man. He's the amazing Yen in Ocean's 11. So that's Ryan.
Love you.
Ryan has learned how to cold start the dilithium crystals without cracking.
God, he's the man.
Yep.
The beryllium spear. So, but thank you. No, I think we're great to go. Thank you guys. I really enjoy the show again, and I enjoy you all coming in. The support of the shop has been great, and all the personal touches you guys put to it too are really appreciated. So, best of luck to you guys too, and your families, and much love always.
Same here.
Jake?
Thank you guys for taking the time.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. Now, hold on. Before we let them go, DJ.
Oh, yeah.
Did you want to ask them your question about your favorite rumor du jour now? Your Gail Simone article, and get their take on what they would do?
Yeah. So there's some rumors on the interwebs. Big fan of the interwebs. That there's some whether it's outside or inside, that part's unsure. There's some push to possibly get Marvel and DC to do a little crossover again. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
So I think that had been floated by all the fans online, that what a way to celebrate once things get back up and running again, new comics, that would be a way of coming together and supporting the industry and celebrating. As far as I know, it's strictly, it's fantasy thinking. It's a rumor part. I hadn't heard about Gail Simone saying anything about it, but how awesome would that be? I'd love to see that.
Amazing.
Yeah, that'd be a great. Maybe do a series of them and have Image team up with another indie publisher, and they put out one and just work a bunch of them together. And we respect and appreciate all comics in there. Jake does a great job of data mining a lot of indie stuff, so it'd be good to see them do something too. Then, if that's the case,
is there a particular crossover you guys would want to see? How about one from each of you?
My favorite thing that I've seen online, Chris, was you've probably all seen it. It's the Scott Snyder tweet that said, if that happens, he wants to write it, and it would basically be Batman versus everybody.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Who haven't we seen in a great team-up format? Avengers and JLA, we saw a couple iterations of, one good, one not so good.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I can't really think of any good team. I'm sure they come up with something good. Maybe do another Spider-Man, Superman one.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
the
reading
original, picked it off, too oversized, really nostalgic.
Oh my God, I'd love to see those again.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Batman, Garcia Lopez one.
I love that stuff.
That's
why we do what we do. Is that type of feeling and that type of moment when you're a kid, open up the giant size or Muhammad Ali versus Superman and
when I got back into it, that was one of the first ones I went back and hunted down. I had it as a kid, and I just needed to get a copy of it.
It would blow everybody's minds if IDW with the Star Trek property and Marvel with the Star Wars property.
Wow,
pulled all the strings and gave us a Star Trek Star Wars crossover.
DJ, that's on your plate to blow up now. Let's go.
There we go. I already got.
We want.
Start that rumor.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, right now I'm reading Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers, and I didn't think it could get any better than that, because those books, they're great books. The story's awesome, especially if you're a 90s kid like me, but to do that, of course, if they do it nowadays, all you'd get would be Picard and fucking Kylo Ren, and that's all the only characters you get, because that's what's on TV, and it would be eh.
Kylo Ren's super hot right now. So hot.
I know, yeah.
Right now.
Just shirtless Ren, though.
Shirtless
Ren. Yeah, shirtless Ren and Picard, and just Ian McKellen's in the background in the winery, just sipping tea or some shit like that. It could be interesting. It could be interesting. That'd be pretty cool. The
That'd be good.
Mandalorian and Worf. That's what I want. That'd be nice. There we go. Mandalorian and Worf. That'd be
That would
good shit.
That would be cool. That Star Wars and Star Trek thing, I think that's the idea. Since we've seen the heroes team up and they've seen them in different iterations, but I think that's
like
awesome.
yeah, because that's dogs and cats. That's mass hysteria right there. So
and you just let Abrams write the whole thing, right? Because he has both worlds.
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Wow, the ultimate mashup. There it is.
Ooh, intriguing.
Although there have been no Star Trek comic volumes that have done really well sales-wise. They have their hardcore fans, and you got a couple that do some blips for you, right? We had Picard did a series recently that people picked up, but not Star Wars number. Star Trek, as much as I'm a Star Trek before Star Wars guy. I will readily admit it. I love them both, but Star Trek to me is a different level of thinking and a different, the acting and what that show was and how it was put together. So we're both of that ilk, but there's never been a comic book that even I want to really sit down and read a Star Trek one. Oh, I got to read this. They haven't done a good job getting that feeling. I guess it's more feeling for Star Trek than it is.
Well, because Trek has less action than Star Wars. Like, there's no, fighters and lightsabers and all this stuff. So it's more like dialogue and political driven. So I don't think it translates as well to, the page with, the panels and stuff.
Right.
It's just,
maybe.
But
painted covers. Love those.
There we go. So
there you go. Yeah, it's for whatever reason that comic has never translated. That show's never translated.
I will say there's a Deep Space Nine series coming out from IDW, and I was really caught off guard with the number of requests. We've been people coming out.
Really?
So there's probably a pent up demand then, and they haven't delivered on it. But it's so what DJ said, right, when he saw the Turtles teaming up with the Power Rangers. So that's a little bit outside my realm from an age standpoint. So I was in high school and above then, but it's amazing to see the different sets of fans that get the crossover of that. Like when the Transformers fought against Green Lantern and people freaking out, like, "Whoa, Jesus, that can't happen!"
Yeah.
And the way that they do it, Batman in the Ninja Turtles was a huge hit. I enjoyed the first series, and
I enjoyed it.
But the stuff they churn up, it's amazing. They still come up with ideas. 75 years of this, and they're still finding a way. Batman's done everything, hasn't he? I mean,
pretty much.
He's done everything.
Predator, he's fought Alien.
Yeah, he's still mad at something, but it's truly talented people coming up with ideas, the writers and the artists that keep us engaged. Because these things, it really is crazy.
So what you do is you take Star Trek and Marvel and you cross them over and you get the Invincible Triple Girl. And then everything is well with the world.
Hey, that's a variant.
Triple Girl.
That's a variant.
Yeah, it's a variant cover.
Speaking of which,
only through J. Scott Campbell.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a dream of DJs.
That'd be a sexy triple, man. Jay Scott's doing the cover.
Speaking of variant covers, a totally unrelated topic. One thing I've seen from retailers that continues to amaze me is somehow they are offering variant covers for books that might not ever come out.
They're taking pre-orders for these.
The Chrissy Zullo one that just dropped today.
I don't want to say anything. I just don't understand when you don't have there's no assurances these things are ever going to come out.
Yeah.
People should, I don't know. But so those are when I'm a retailer, and we've done variants, and we try to be conscientious of it from a couple different ways, right? We don't dump our variants into boxes and water that. There is a respect that when you buy into a variant to us, that when you buy into our variant, you buy into the numbers and what we say, that we're going to keep it strict and keep what you paid for it, that value. We're never going to dump it into one. And we see this regularly. It's such a dirty, dirty thing. And it really doesn't help the market. It really, it has its own market. And, we can certainly play that out in the speculators. And we do. And we respect all these people, right? We respect everybody that adds to the coffers and keeps the shop open. So I'm not going to be, but to just blatantly announce something and who the hell knows what the hell's going on in 2 months, let alone,
right?
It just blows me away. So,
but you guys do get some awesome covers, I must say. Some awesome covers.
Some good people, and we try to interact with those people, and they've been really nice to come into the shop. So part of it is, you can slap. Part of the dirty variant game to me is just slapping a cover on a book to slap a cover on it. There's no other reason but to just take your money. I have no affiliation. The artist isn't going to do in shop. We let the artist be a part of the process, and sure, we could do that. And there's people that do it. And I'm not questioning anyone else's game. We're going to run our game, and we'll respect everyone else's. But when it starts to really make ours look a little dirty, then I'm going to say something. So just be wary out there, and if you're not getting something tangible today, then I'd really question it.
Yeah.
Good advice.
So cool. So as we wrap up here, so when's the next auction? Just so everyone knows. I mean, I'm sure it's on the website also, but just so everyone knows, listen, when's the next auction?
So episode 83 of The Hall After Dark, which is our original auction that's continues to roll on. Now it is on Zoom. That's going to be happening tomorrow night, which at this point is Monday, April 6th at 6:30. They happen almost every Monday evening from 6:30 to 8 on Zoom. And then it's not so much an auction, more of a straightforward sale, is the Not Quite New Comics Wednesday that we do at 10 a.m. So it's good for you morning people. 10 a.m. on Wednesday, also on Zoom.
Bye, Mary.
There you go. Excellent. Eastern time.
Eastern time. Yes.
Yeah. April 13th.
There you go.
Hit that auction up, people.
Awesome. Well, you're going to have to edit up this one pretty good, right? We said goodbye 3 times now, so.
Yeah, it's what we do.
That's
We're not
all right,
big
I
on
like it.
rules and restrictions and shit. So
So it's like a
Actually,
Springsteen concert. All right, we're coming back.
Hey, one
All right,
more.
Next
what I wanna
request.
talk about. Let's do it. One more.
One more song from the Philadelphia soundtrack. Actually, and as we're saying goodbye, we haven't even checked in on Chris is doing a different hockey jersey every episode. Chris, what's the
cool.
jersey? What's the jersey tonight?
We got
Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia.
Very nice.
That's good. I
Very
started
nice.
watching that.
very
Very
cool.
nice. Excellent. Excellent.
He still
Cool.
owes us a story. Next time you guys see him, tell us he still owes us a story.
Yeah, we've been bugging him. Yeah.
That might be a good way to kick it off, too. We finally get the end of that storyline. When things get going again, Kevin
know,
should
right?
provide us with a
There we go.
We keep asking.
finish it.
Yeah.
Supposedly it's written. They're just waiting for the art.
All right. Oh, really? So
Yeah.
is Walt doing it again? Who's doing
Walt is
Yeah.
doing it, and now
he's the holdup?
the secret stash is shut down. Same situation you guys are in, so he's got nothing but time.
No
It's
excuse.
crazy. People stay home. Everybody stay home and read comics. Or just stay home. I don't care.
There
Just
we
stay home.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank
Happy
you,
Easter.
guys.
Gentlemen, thank
You
you
too.
both
Happy
for
Easter.
coming on.
Thanks a lot.
Great.
Appreciate it, guys.
Stay safe, guys. Take
Yeah,
care.
you too.
Bye, guys. Okay. So top 3 this week. So there's been a little bit of rumor out there on the internet, and everything you see now you have to take with an extreme grain of salt because there's no real news of anything of substance. So people just kind of making shit up.
No.
But there has been some inklings out there that a lot of people have either heard grumblings or is pushing possibly for Marvel and DC to kind of get together once this is all said and done and maybe do a little bit of crossover work to try to boost the comic industry. So I was thinking, why don't we do top 3 team-ups you would want in a Marvel DC team-up? This would be like a short run, like, 5 or 6 issues, like a standalone story, just 2 things you think would pair well together for a good story. And we'll skip honorable mentions today. We'll just go right into the top 3. Take it away, Sean.
So the first thing that popped to mind was kind of obvious. 2 rich guys with different technological and mental skills. So I was thinking
Chris Davis and Mark Zuckerberg are comic book characters.
Yeah, exactly. So Batman and Black Panther. Lots of different opportunities there, but the idea of Gotham and Wakanda's greatest, technological rich brains going to bat in the dark, with their own flavors of dark costumes and energy and their own incredibly sharp wits. And, it just feels like a great miniseries waiting to happen. I don't care what they do, just the detective work and the fighting seems like a straight up win.
That's really good. I didn't think you were going to go Black Panther.
No, that isn't where I was thinking either.
That's good. We'll Gotham forever.
But yeah, we're
We'll
going to Gotham forever.
How do I make a G? Yeah.
Can you picture
so
Bruce
that-
putting up with any of that shit the first time the arm cross happens?
Oh, absolutely.
He's gone.
But if
I
Batman can
love
get some
embarrassed
kind of,
Bruce.
if he can get some kind of like what's the metal called from Black Panther?
Vibranium.
Vibranium. Sorry, I'm drawing my head's shot today.
Oh yeah, just think of the tech exchange.
Vibranium weave batsuit. Oh.
Son, if they live in the same universe,
yes,
to the point where there can be a crossover, Batman already has it.
Yeah,
he already knows how to put down the cat.
They need to figure out how to form a Wayne Wakanda conglomerate. Right? I mean, come on.
Wayne Enterprises Wakanda division.
Yeah, in fact, maybe they come together to help a global pandemic that is affecting the citizens of, everywhere.
That's an expensive song to get for the movie, so be careful. That's big dollars to license that one.
All right, so that's my number 3, Batman, Black Panther.
Excellent. My number 3 also includes The Dark Knight, but I went Batman and Moon Knight.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
I was thinking take the Marvel version of Batman, which a lot of people talk about, but it's the yin and yang. So you were talking about the light costumes, both Dark Avengers kind of thing. I'm thinking more the spy versus spy.
Yeah.
One white, one black. And it's very much put them up against the Riddler or somebody like that in one of those type mystery. But again, more of the detective work than anything else.
Yep.
Nice. My number 3, I went with Thor and the New Gods.
Oh, that would be very different direction, but I like it. Obviously a great combo.
So some kind of, dark side Steppenwolf threatens beyond, their territory. They get into the realms and they threaten Asgard. So you have maybe like Thor and Beta Ray Bill and Adam Strange and all that. And that could be kind of cool. They kind of live in the same, not the same, but it's a very similar, it's similar enough where they could kind of piece it together, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool.
You would get a ton of Kirby homage covers there too.
Oh yeah. It'd be worth it just for that.
Tons and tons.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That sounds awesome. All right. My number 2. I think it's a great combo. Harley Quinn.
I'm liking the Sean dance.
Yeah, sorry. My back is killing me.
That's okay.
So
I'm going to kind of start going with you.
So my number 2 is Harley Quinn Rocket Raccoon.
That's awesome.
So of course I love the Palmiotti Connor run, and one of the things I loved was her interaction with the various non-human characters. The beaver, right?
You like her talking to the beaver.
Talking to the beaver. And that made me think of what if the beaver talked back, had the brilliance and bravery of Rocket Raccoon. I mean, come on.
In her mind, the beaver is clearly talking back.
Yeah.
Oh, no question. The beaver, I mean, in my mind, the beaver lives. So now imagine an actual live action crossover of these two, right? With Bradley Cooper going back and forth with Margot Robbie, and it's gold.
Jimmy and Amanda would need to do the series, though. It would need Jimmy and Amanda doing it.
Yep, absolutely.
That'd be insane.
Yeah.
I like that. Wow, you put a lot more thought in this. Yeah. I just put my number 2 is just something fucked up that I wanted to see on screen.
Yeah.
Or on the pages.
Yeah.
So I want an Alpha Flight Doom Patrol crossover.
Oh, yeah.
That is amazing.
Canada's greatest hero. I want Puck interacting with all of the members of the Doom Patrol. Just as random as could possibly be one, because you don't see Alpha Flight anymore, ever.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. That was one that I read when I was younger. Probably because that's what was left on the racks, and when my uncle was cleaning them off, that's what I got. Yeah. And the Doom Patrol is still in my head because I just went back and rewatched some of those episodes.
That
thing was so messed up. I loved it. It was excellent.
So good.
Tudyk.
Yes.
Okay. So hold on, I'm just gonna switch headphones real quick because my headphones are bugging me. Sorry, everyone was going Bluetooth, and my big cans, it's too hot in my office, so I had to...
I don't want to hear about your big cans.
No, we're not talking about your can.
Yeah.
I paid good money for them. Okay, so my number two is a cheat.
Okay.
So, because I picked a trio. So, basically, whoever you want to have the protagonist be, there's someone that does something that needs to be hunted down. So you put together the team of Etrigan the Demon, Logan, and Craven to hunt the guy down.
All right. That would I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, just because, I had to get a non-hero character in there. Yeah. And I think just Etrigan and Wolverine would work nice as it is. Then you got to throw Craven in there too, because I just felt like throwing Craven in there.
Can we make it a Marvel movie and just have invaders coming out of the sky?
Yep, we can do that. That works.
Cool.
I'll allow it.
I'm in.
All right, that's pretty good. So my number one, I've talked in the past about my love for Damian Wayne Robin. So Damian Wayne Robin and Deadpool. So
Okay.
Wow.
So
Okay. Explain.
part of the objective is all the gold that will come from Deadpool breaking the fourth wall, but also crapping on Damian Wayne, making innuendos about Dick Grayson and Tim Drake, and and Robin having to be Deadpool's sidekick, and it just feels like a team up that I want to watch and listen to. Like,
why aren't you wearing the little green boots and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just gold.
Where's the shark repellent?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean,
stuff.
all of that. Yes.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I like it. All right. For my number one, I'm going the Battle of the Titans. I want to see Thanos versus Darkseid.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
all the minions
that's going to
of
lay some
Apocalypse
waste.
Let's settle it once and for all and find out who the true mightiest being in all of the universe is.
Darkseid.
That's how I would go with it, but then again, I'm a DC punk,
so
yeah, exactly.
What about all the heroes on either side? What are they doing during this time?
That's the thing. You wouldn't even need the heroes in this story.
Correct.
No. You have enough of a cast of characters where this is off Earth.
Yeah, you could have Ebon Maw and the Black Order and Big Bertha and
you get Bertha
and all that
and
kind of stuff.
Miracle and you get all those
the
guys.
Apocalypse versus Thanos' crew. That'd be sick. That would be an awesome series. That'd be amazing. Fun. It would make better statues too. Okay.
Always comes back to the toys.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so my number one actually have a purpose to it. So if they were to do something like this, you'd have to have some kind of diversity because they always have to change something up to make it more politically correct.
Yep.
So what if you did a 6-part miniseries where you retell Wonder Woman's origin or her first run, but during the war, instead of falling in love with Steve Trevor, she falls in love with Peggy Carter. And you have Wonder Woman and Agent Carter.
So is it a love triangle with Steve Rogers? Or Steve Rogers not part of the picture?
Nope, it's just Peggy Carter and Wonder Woman. She, instead of latching on to Steve Trevor, she meets Peggy Carter in the war, and they latch on, and that's her drive. That's her hook.
I mean, I still miss Agent Carter the series. I'd love to see that combo.
Oh yeah, you put the two of them in a movie together. The live action ones. Yeah. But I think it'd be good because you get that you get that LBGTQ kind of hook, and there's some. Is that what it is, right?
I like DJ being politically correct.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm trying.
That's ham-handed, but you pulled it off. I approve.
Yeah, but it would be a good story, I think, because I think Steve Trevor is just Peggy Carter in pants for the most part.
Yes.
Peggy Carter is actually, I think, a more badass than Steve Trevor, and you could even go
yeah.
What I say? What if you could even go full what if and have Peggy Carter with the serum kind of thing in Wonder Woman. So they're
that's even
love.
Better.
Yeah, it's a love story, but they're also kicking the shit out of everything with the German flag on it.
Well, but then you're talking about Peggy Carter, Captain America, and Wonder Woman.
You could do that.
Or Captain
which is
Britain.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Captain Britain.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, bingo. And that, just think of the Adam Hughes covers.
Oh, bing. Yes. Sorry. I'm sold. Yep.
Done.
Right.
Give me that book. Book. Okay.
Nice.
All
right.
Okay, so Sean had Batman and Black Panther, Harley Quinn and Rocket Raccoon, which I want the most out of all of them, I think, and Damian Wayne and Deadpool.
Yep.
Chris had Batman and Moon Knight, Alpha Flight and the Doom Patrol, which would be the weirdest fucking thing ever put on pages, and Thanos versus Darkseid, finally matching up the biggest of the bads. I did Thor and Asgard and the New Gods, Logan, Etrigan the Demon and Kraven, and Wonder Woman and Peggy Carter, whether it's normal Peggy Carter or Cap Peggy Carter, either way. So awesome. Yeah, that was
fun.
Yep.
That's for the ones we all did something, and it's actually
that's good.
That would all work. That would all work pretty good. So
I agree.
Okay,
definitely.
Awesome. So everyone, thanks for tuning in. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe if you're seeing it on YouTube. If you're on one of your podcast sites, just please leave a review or subscribe. Give us a rating. Don't be nice, be gentle. If you don't know where to find us, for some reason, audio-wise, we're on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, everywhere, whatever. And follow us on Twitter at FMen37. We have some... go ahead.
Before we leave, I want to make sure to thank Jake and Johnny from the Hall of Comics, Southborough, Massachusetts. hallofcomics.com. Hit them up. Look for them. They've got an eBay store. They've got an online store. Absolutely check them out. Throw them some business. And we really appreciate them spending time with us today.
Yeah, definitely. And no matter where you are, if you're not obviously in our area, whenever all this shit's over with, please go out and go to your local comic store, buy a couple back issues, buy something off the rack. They'll appreciate it. It's good. Support them. They're gonna need the help after all this. Yeah, any small business you can. And coming up the next couple weeks, a quick plug. We got some special episodes in the works, possibly a live AMA episode and something else cool coming down the tracks. So just stay tuned on Twitter. Have a good night, everybody.
See you later, guys. Have a good one.